Yes, we have resilience. On this discussion, I want to do two things. One, was asked to communicate with some of the program, so I'm going to just have a summary of what is there from that and my questions for the committee. I think what the guest read tell us whether there is a future for IMC in Nigeria, and it must start that positively. There is a great future for IMC in Nigeria, being one of the end-level countries, which we identify BRICS country as the area of focus for global capitalism in the unfolding years. That future is great. We look at what IMC has experienced now, what it tells us. Because just as 10,000 naira in 1981 will not be given, and before the 50 years of 2 billion was offered, in the following future, not just billions, but hundreds of billions, not millions of billions. Then you got clarity on what kind of IMC will emerge to sell that future. And I think it's something about the storytelling IMC. Creating communities of people, their relationships, and then contexts and contexts. In view of that future, I would ask that we in the classroom illustrate the powerful effect of communication by advertising. We said there's no doubt whether communication, mass communication, has a powerful effect. We want to look into that is my life. We worry or we see a challenge of a future in which advertising, like television, creates images. The reason by images rather than facts and figures. And the images rather than facts and figures come a departure from truth, or a derivation of truth. Yet, at least in the medium that has powerful effect on people, it will put people from truth to image appreciation. How will this be corrected for in this storytelling era of IMC that is unfolding? Thank you, sir.
My name is Sir, I most appreciate your efforts in giving us direction to the future of integrated marketing communication. But in the course of your speech you made, I discovered that the macroeconomics and the microeconomics of the whole thing was not really appreciated. I'm talking in reference to internet access. We are saying the future is new media. We can also actually count that a country of over 107 million people, a good number of them do not have access to the internet, the bandwidth and the likes. So one of my lecturers talked about the fact that clients tend to look at agencies as experts, not revenue, because it's better if they appreciate you as a knowledge worker, someone that can contribute to their business, not just to come and take their money to splash adverts all over television and radio stations. Having said all that, I think we can take a cue for India, where they have what they call archive innovation. It's a country with a very large population, but of course, like Nigeria, it's also a section of the country that is properly educated and can really access the digital media as well. What they have in India is companies, IT firms, and even agencies stoking innovations whereby an average person, the most illiterate person in that country, can actually have access to ICT because they ensure that there is policy that makes it deliberate for them to create local content and even small telephone gadgets that they can readily operate even though they are illiterate, because it's obvious that for you to appreciate technology, you need to have a certain level of literacy. So if the future video comes and still a good number of Nigerians still don't have the literacy and access to this, the literacy to appreciate it, and I think it will be counterproductive to even deploy the ICT in that area because they don't look at it before it's necessary. I think it's important for us to start looking in the direction of India. It's developing it has India has treated to start developing and they are doing a lot with like Nigeria. I think we can look in that direction to model the industry in that direction.
So it's very open explanation as to why almost all advertising agencies are located in Kenya. Just
For me, I had two questions asked. The first has to do with mass communication, the promise of the brand, and the impression that television tends to create. That's about images as opposed to facts. I'm not so sure that I shared that. I don't know where that came from. If you discussed that during your session here, and the consensus was that television was all about images, then I would only say that perhaps your mind went back to the days of yore when Lux used to go those commercials with pretty girls and all that. Or perhaps you looked at Delta soap and came to the conclusion that it's all about showing pretty faces. And you really couldn't determine the value that the brand conferred on the user. Let me make this point that for as long as people who work in advertising continue to delude themselves that they can just be showing images, pretty images, where the reason for being of that brand is not sufficiently communicated and demonstrated. And much more importantly, in neglecting the consumer and not allowing that consumer to engage the brand, so much we will be throwing clients' money into the trash can. Because, like I said this morning, things have moved on. All right, the consumer himself has moved on. He wants to be part of the communication. All right, and it's not for me. I haven't come here to lecture on how we will begin to create effective communication. I'm just telling you what would most likely work, what the consumer is now looking for. From global experiences, the consumer wants to engage. He wants to participate in that communication process. So it cannot be take the information, go and take an action. That's what used to happen. That's what we used to do. Here is this information. Okay, you say you have headache. Go and take Pensic and you'll be okay. Now the consumer is now saying, how? How? Why are you saying to me that, suppose I don't believe you, can I do something that will make it? And I said, I don't know how that will happen. I was discussing that with some of the lecturers downstairs about how do we even get to this next stage of educating people on how to develop the communication. And my view is that we need to bring in experts to teach us how to do it. Because there's no point reinventing the wheel. If there are people who are really successful, let them show us that's the benefit of all of these technical partnerships that we have. You know, let me into the secrets. You've been doing it, you had a head start. All right? You didn't allow us to do it our own way. Because you said our own way was crude. Now everybody is signing on to your own style. Teach us how to do it. So I think that is my answer to that. It's not about glamorizing anything, you know. But let me give you an example of the commercial I watch. I like it. But in my head I'm like, this kid, do they really, apart from the fun, I'm sure you watch Honeywell, all those bam bam la la, you know, and those kids are enjoying themselves, you can see that. And they now do a jump cut from all of that bam bam la la into them eating the noodles. And everybody saying the greatest thing after sliced bread. I don't know. How can these guys, these little kids, convince mommy genuinely that, you know, this is the best noodle that's available in the land? And I can say that for even Indomie, there must be something. Let's
here, let these kids, I don't know, let them do something that will make them participate in this whole process. That's the point I'm making. You should go beyond just dancing and seeing pretty kids and all that and all that. That's where I think we should go, because sooner or later, what will happen is that the client will come back and say, you know, sales wasn't really good. With all this bam, we are not selling this body. You know, because it is only when the till rings and that client can make his money that we will not be able to say we have justified the investment of marketing contribution. And that is what's going to put your jobs at me and